Welcome back to the United Stand. My name is Maud and I'm back for another 2 p.m. show. We are 1 day away, or well, I can't really tell because the American time's a bit weird, isn't it? But we're about a day away from United's first pre-season game against West Ham. And before we even get into the show, Mark is going to be doing a watch-along. He's going to be doing a show later on for a presser. Amorim's going to be speaking on, loads of different stuff, the players and how he thinks the game's going to go. So make sure you check out the presser. It will be around 4:45, 5 o'clock. United might be late sometimes. So around 4:45, 5 o'clock, there will be a presser where Amorim will be speaking on a bunch of different stuff, and Mark will be covering that. So make sure you check that out. And as well, he's going to be doing another 8 p.m. show later on. So make sure you're checking out the United Stand for all the content around this club, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but there's not a lot going on at the same time. But I've got so much things that we're going to go through today. So make sure you're staying interactive in the chat. Send in your super chats. Let me know all the different topics and things you want to discuss. Because I'm going to be bringing different opinions, and I don't really like telling the news. I like just giving my opinion on the things that are going on. So I really want you guys to stay interactive and let me know in the chat your opinions on everything that I'm talking about. But look, this is what's going to be coming up today. Garnacho offer. I know that's surprising. I know people are thinking, who bid for Garnacho? What's going on? There's a club that's interested, a big club. A big club is interested in Garnacho. In fact, let me know in the chat. I'm not going to say it first, but let me know in the chat who do you think that club is. Also, the Watkins latest. I mean, we've all heard, what's going on with United striker situation, and it's looking like Ollie Watkins is. If we are to go and get a striker, it's looking like Ollie Watkins might be the main priority. So we're going to discuss all of that. As well, Malacia, a player who kind of just got forgotten about. Everyone kind of just pushed him into the five. I don't know what the phrase was, but the five, all the players that went on loan, Malacia kind of just got put into that conversation, and we kind of forgot about him a little bit. But I mean, there's interest in Malacia, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mason Mount did a little interview, and there's a bunch of quotes and comments that he made. We're going to touch on that a little bit as well. Obviously, the West Ham game, I really want to know your opinion on how you're feeling. Are you excited? I mean, I actually want to see United play. I'll be honest, even though, I get it, we've only made 2 signings, and last season wasn't the greatest. We were a bit boring, but I'm past all of that now. I want to see United play football. I'm not going to lie. And there's also more Emi Martinez stuff. So, look, that's a lot of stuff that we're going to go through. So, like I said, let me know in the chat what you think about everything we're going to discuss today. And look, let's get straight into it. So I'm looking in the chat now for some of the teams that you guys have put in there. I'm seeing Chelsea, PSG, Stoke. It's not Stoke. I'll let you know that for now. Brentford. No. None of those teams. The team is Bayern Munich, Bayern München. So, I mean, look, it's interesting anyway. Look, so Bayern have inquired about what it would take to acquire Garnacho, but his preference is still the Premier League. Now, that doesn't mean they put in an offer, they put in a bid, they've even spoke to the player. None of that has happened, but they have inquired to the club about what it would take. Now, I think the conversation now is, as fans, what would you offer Bayern Munich at this point? Because let's be honest, there was a point where everyone was probably saying, I'm not taking anything less than 50. I'm not taking anything less than 55, 60. There was a point where even last season, at the end of last season, if Garnacho was to be sold, people were looking at a 50 to 60 million pound range. I know some people were even saying higher than that, 70 plus. Right now, I'm looking at the scope of the window. I'm looking at how much money we need to go and buy new players. I'm looking at how close we are to the start of the Premier League. I mean, what is it, August 17th, the first game against Arsenal? It's not far away at all. Bayern Munich, a pretty big club, let's be honest, probably top 5 biggest clubs in the world, acquiring about Garnacho. If I'm United, I'm saying, forget about what we want. What do you want? What do you, let me know how much you want to pay for Garnacho. What is it, 30, 40, 25? You can have him. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way to Garnacho, but we're at the point where we need to get these players off the books as quickly as possible. We haven't got that much time. We've got, like I said, about 3 weeks left before the start of the Premier League. And, I mean, before the window closes, about 5 weeks, roughly about 5 weeks left before the window closes. If Bayern Munich are saying we want to take Garnacho off your hands, I mean, you look at the wingers that they have. They've got obviously Alice on the right-hand side. They've got Gnabry who can play on both sides pretty much. They've got Coleman who can play on the left. What other wingers have they got? They've got that youngster as well. I can't remember his name. But if I'm Garnacho anyway, I'm thinking that's a big move. I'm going to a Champions League team who are most likely going to win the league next year. It's not like they have any real competition. Bayern Leverkusen got absolutely picked apart by Liverpool, so they don't have really that much competition there. Dortmund, one season they're good, one season they're all right. Bayern Munich are probably going to win the league next year. They're probably going to be they're definitely going to do well. I say it definitely, but they're probably going to do well in the Champions League next year. If I'm Garnacho, I'm saying to United, what do they want? I will go. I will go over there, fresh start. He's still, 21 years old. There's no reason why his career's got to be going down the drain. Take him. Take him. That's what I think anyway. But let me know in the chat, what do you think about that Garnacho move? Do you think that United should kind of just offer whatever Bayern Munich want? Or should we kind of hold it out and say, no, nothing below 40 or nothing below 50? Do you still think we should kind of keep that strong foot in the window and kind of be a bit more firm in terms of how much we offer for our players? But yeah, I agree. Someone put in the chat just there, either way he has to go. That's literally the way I see it. Either way, Garnacho has to kind of leave. And if it's Bayern Munich, I'm happy for him to go there. I think he will probably do very well there because he's not going to be in the limelight. He's not going to be seen as the face of the club. They're already a huge club who were doing well before he even got there. It's a chance for him to get good experience playing around better players, playing in the big competitions. Like I said, they're probably going to win the league. And I feel like naturally, most players play well when the team is playing well. For a club like Bayern Munich, they're going to win most games. Because they're Bayern Munich. They're going to win most games. It gives him an opportunity to be that impactful sub in games where they're winning. He'll get goals, he'll get assists. He's playing with Harry Kane. I mean, you're going to play with better players, you're going to play better. Simple as. So, yeah, I think Garnacho should go over there and I think he'll do very well. But like I said, let me know, how much would you sell him for? And do you think it's a right move for Garnacho? But one thing I will say though is, somebody did, when I first saw the story, I was looking through the tweets and whatnot, someone did say that it's similar to Rashford in the sense of both players didn't necessarily deserve a big move based on their performances over the past year. But, I mean, if Garnacho was to leave United and go Bayern, and Rashford was to leave United and go Barca, they both kind of elevated their careers in a way. If you look at it like that, they've both gone to, I'm going to say bigger clubs because Bayern Munich and Barca and United, in my opinion, are both in the top 4-5 clubs in the world in terms of size. So it's a similar kind of level of club, but in terms of performances on the pitch, they've both gone to far better teams, far better teams, and both of the teams that are in the Champions League, it kind of feels like they've kind of jumped the gun. They've almost escaped a really bad situation which could have went left for both of them. I mean, let's say, Rashford couldn't get that Barcelona move. Where would he have went? It wouldn't have gone up. It would have probably gone down from that point in terms of clubs. And the same with Garnacho. If he doesn't get this Bayern Munich move, I mean, he wants to stay in the Premier League. I mean, you look at the Premier League teams that can take him. Liverpool are definitely not going to take him because, I mean, the fact that he plays for United already, they probably won't take him for that. City are not going to take him. Again, the fact that he plays for United is one thing, but quality-wise, I think they've got far better players. Then you're looking at Arsenal. Yes, Arsenal do need a left winger still, but I mean, they're still in for Eze, and there's rumours around Rodrigo. I doubt it's going to happen, but there's rumours around Rodrigo. They've still got Martinelli. I highly doubt that Garnacho will be a player that they'll go and look for. And then you're looking at Chelsea, who have still got a whole lot of wingers on their books. Again, that'll probably be the most realistic team that's in the Champions League that Garnacho can go to. But again, Chelsea is when it comes to transfers, it's so weird because they could just go out and buy another 3 wingers for no reason and you probably just won't play. You know what I mean? Because they just buy players, they just buy whoever's available, let's be honest. And then you're looking at Tottenham actually, and to be fair, I saw some rumours around Son potentially leaving as well. If Son was to part ways with Spurs, which would be big to be fair, there could be an opening for Spurs. There could be an opening there for him to go and play for Spurs. But realistically, there aren't no concrete teams where I look at and think, yeah, they need a player like Garnacho, and that's a club that's willing to take him on and bring him into the team. There aren't a lot. So, look, I just think in terms of the Bayern thing, I'm happy for him to go. I'm happy, and I think it does make sense. But look, there's some super chats coming in. Like I said, make sure you send in all your super chats so we can discuss them. So first super chat is from Slow Sports News. Problem is, as reports say, Garnacho wants Prem football and would go for 40 million, I reckon. But two choices could be Arsenal or Chelsea. Yeah, look, like I said before, I think my thing is I doubt the Arsenal one makes sense for Arsenal, because I feel like they can still go out and get an Eze, or they can still go out and get a top quality winger who will start for them every single game. That's what they need. They've needed for the past couple of seasons a top quality left winger and a top quality striker. They've got the striker now. They've got Gyökeres. It wouldn't make sense for them to go and get a Garnacho, because I don't think he really levels up the squad compared to like a Gyökeres levels up Arsenal. I don't think Garnacho has the same impact, and it kind of feels like they're replacing a Martinelli for another Martinelli. You know what I mean? They're replacing a potential for another potential where he hasn't fully developed into the play that they need. So for me, Arsenal doesn't necessarily make sense. Chelsea and Spurs are the two teams that I feel like could make sense for him. But yeah, I agree. It's I don't know. It's Prem football, 40 million. Will a team go there? I don't know. But anyway, next super chat from Dairy75. I think it's a story to push Luis Diaz. Oh, one second, it's gone off. Yeah, I think it's a story to push Luis Diaz to rebel against Liverpool to get the move done at an affordable price for Bayern. Interesting. I think it's a story to push Luis Diaz to rebel against Liverpool to get the move done at an affordable price for Bayern. Okay, so you think Bayern are pretty much flirting with Garnacho, so Luis Diaz gets jealous. That's what I'm seeing. You think Bayern are thinking, you know what, I want Diaz, but Diaz is it's a bit up and down, so I'm going to chat to Garnacho, see what's going on over there. Hopefully Luis Diaz looks at it and gets a bit jealous and thinks, let's get this deal done as quickly as possible, so then they don't go for Garnacho. That's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know. I think realistically, if Bayern were to go and get a top quality left winger, they're going to get Diaz. They're going to get Diaz. Even though Liverpool are quoting, 100 million? I think that is absolutely ridiculous. Luis Diaz is not worth 100 million. I don't even know what 100 million is worth anymore, because if Grealish is worth 100 million, Diaz is worth 100 million. I don't. What is 100 million anymore? I thought 100 million was for the best players in the world, in my opinion. I don't know. I thought that was the benchmark for, if you are a £100 million player, you are world class. Nowadays, it just feels like if you're just part of a good team, you're £100 million. So I don't know. But yeah, that's an interesting super chat. Yeah, another super chat from F Boogie. £50 million, 40 plus 10 add-ons with 25% sell-on clause for Garnacho. £50 million. I think we're past that stage now. I don't think £50 million is what teams are looking at Garnacho for anymore. Maybe before they were, but £50 million now, I don't know. Super chat from, but let me know in the comments if you agree with that. But another super chat from Liam Vernon. If the Son leaving Spurs rumours are true, surely it would make sense for it's gone off again. Surely it would make sense for Garnacho to Spurs. Bayern are looking at Diaz. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I think if Son was to actually leave, I mean, Son is getting on anyway. What is he, 30 years old, something like that? He doesn't look 30, by the way, but I think he's about 30, 31. Is he 31? Someone give me Son's age in the chat right now. But I'm sure he's either 30 or he's around that age. So realistically, he is going to be thinking about the next stage of his career. In my personal opinion, when it comes to Son, I think he's wasted his career at Spurs. I think he's absolutely ruined the talent that he is, the quality, the star quality that Son has. In my opinion, he's a world-class player, or he was a world-class player, especially when he played next to Harry Kane, who also ruined part of his career just rotting away at Spurs. But for someone like Son, if I'm him, I'm looking at the Europe and the teams that are available, and I'm thinking, I've wasted so much time at this club. I've won one Europa League, which I didn't even really play that well in that season. Did he even play the final? I can't remember if he even played the final. I'm looking at it thinking, I need to leave and revive my career, because the level that he should be at and what he should have won and the way we should be speaking about Son, the certain conversations that we should have with Son, we don't have them. And the reason why is because he spent so much time at Spurs when he could have left earlier and done so much more of his career. And I think it's sad. I know it's a United stand, but I think it's sad. So for me, I think Son, it's time to go. It's time to go. Leave Spurs. Let them continue with whatever their plans are. I don't know what they're going to be doing right now, but whatever their plans are, they've made a couple of signings, Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White. Let them go on for into their next stage of the Spurs, tenure, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, Son, leave. Go and find a new club. And then that could open the space for Garnacho to go and be part of this new Spurs era that's coming through. But yeah, that's my opinion. So he's 33. You're lying. You're lying. Son is not 33 years old. 33. That has spun me. Oh my God. How old's Harry Kane then? That has absolutely spun me. I thought he was 30. Yeah, Son, leave. Son, I feel so bad for him. Like, he spent so long at that club. What a waste. Oh, that is so sad. Anyway, let me not dwell on that. 33 has absolutely spun me. But yeah, another super chat from Tom McBride. It was United who started inflation in football. 90 million for Pogba was crazy and unheard of back then. I'll be honest, I don't think 90 million was crazy for Pogba. I don't think he was a golden boy. He was one of the best midfielders in the world in that time. In terms of not necessarily what he'd won and stuff like that, but in terms of talent, Pogba was one of the biggest players in the world. He was. Factually, he was. That's why it was such a big move, because it was Paul Pogba playing for Juventus. He'd actually won a lot at Juventus. Like I said, golden boy, played Champions League final. And in terms of a global name, Pogba was a huge, huge name in football. Huge, huge name. He was the face of Adidas pretty much. So I think 90 million, considering what Bale was 80, 90, and obviously Ronaldo was 90, and that was 7, 8 years prior. When you look at inflation, the way our money was being spent, I don't think it was that crazy. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I think it was someone put in there, I think it was Neymar. Neymar made transfers. Neymar was the one who ruined transfers. Let me not say Neymar, but PSG was the one who ruined transfers. Because what they did for Mbappe and what they did for Neymar, what was it 200 million? That's what ruined transfers, in my opinion. But yeah, a few more super chats coming in here. I've still got so much stuff to talk about, and we're almost halfway through the show. I think we're past halfway through the show. But Carl Robertson says, playing bad and not fitting system, not the same thing. Playing bad and not fitting the system. Who are you referring to then? Are you referring to Garnacho? Let me know who you're referring to. But super chat from Marcus. I'd love the option buy Garnacho back. Sell 30 million with 50% selling. No one's doing a 50% selling clause. We're not doing that. But we should definitely put a selling clause in there. I just don't know how much for. But yeah, anyway. Moving on. But we're about halfway through the show, and I really want to plug That's Football, because I do this for all my shows. That's Football is a hidden gem which a lot of people don't even know about, and it's pretty much all the football news from across Europe. In fact, yeah, across Europe, and just anything interesting. Premier League news, like I said, Champions League news, any European news, especially going into next season. There's going to be a load. There's already loads of watch-alongs that Mark was doing last season, but next season's going to be doing even more. There's shows every single day, and he does it about a 10-minute show every single day where he talks about all the stuff that's going on in the Premier League. And there's a lot going on in the Premier League, especially with the whole Isak situation, which I think is super interesting. I really want to know where he's going to go. Because if he goes to Liverpool, I never want to hear any Liverpool fan complain about money ever again. Breaking the transfer record twice in one window, unheard of. But yeah, so much news going on across Europe and across the Premier League. Go and check out That's Football, because that's where everything is going down. So yeah, go and check that out. But look, let's move on. I want to talk quickly also about Watkins. Now, as we know, United striker situation is... what is going to happen? None of us even know. Apparently, look, Amorim's come out and said... I've got some quotes here about Amorim. So he has said that he is content with how the squad is shaping up, and nothing imminent is expected on the striker front. Now, to me, that's disappointing. Very disappointing, because I made a video actually. Go and check out my Instagram or my TikTok. But I made a video about how United need to step up, because all the other big Premier League clubs, on the clubs who are actually serious, have got top strikers. Liverpool, Ekitike, Haaland with City, Arsenal with Gyökeres, Chelsea with João Pedro. obviously I mentioned Newcastle with Isak, but it's looking now that Isak is going to be going to Liverpool, but then Newcastle also looking at Sesko. So they're kind of replacing their big striker for another highly sought after, talented striker. And it looks like I'm looking at United and I'm thinking, where do we even go from here? Who are we looking at? You know, are we going to play Haaland and Xerxes for the next season, or is Watkins going to be the best option? And right now it's looking like it is. It's looking like Watkins realistically is, if we are going to get a striker, and it's an if, which is the peak thing, because we don't want it to be an if. Really and truly, it should be a priority signing. I mean, the end of last season, if you said to me, what's one position that I feel like we struggled with the most, I'd say either goalkeeper, because realistically we did struggle with goalkeeper, but not for the whole season. But after that, it's got to be the striker. It has got to be the striker. That was one position where I thought we're pretty much playing with 10 men for a lot of games. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, why have we not gone straight into the window? Yes, Cunha was available. Yes, Mbeumo was available. And they are two very, very good signings who will get us goals. But at the end of the day, a striker for every club is important. Nottingham Forest wouldn't have been Nottingham Forest if it wasn't for Chris Wood. You know what I mean? Like Brighton wouldn't have been Brighton if it wasn't for João Pedro. City wouldn't have been City if it wasn't for Haaland. I could keep going through all the teams. Fulham wouldn't have been Fulham without Jimenez. Like, you need a striker. And yes, obviously all these strikers I mentioned I'm not saying we should go and sign them, or you know what I mean, but you need to have a goal scorer. You need to have somebody in your team who is that bagsman, that talisman, who's going to do the dirty work and is going to make sure that ball ends up in the back of the net. We don't have that. We don't have that. And that's why it doesn't make sense for me when I see Amorim say he's content with how the squad is shaping up. Yes, we've made 2 good signings, but the striker situation isn't sorted yet. You shouldn't be content. You shouldn't be happy, because at the end of the day, if we go into this West Ham game tomorrow, technically tomorrow, or even if we go to this Arsenal game on August 17th and we look like we're struggling to score a goal, that's on you, Amorim, and it's also on Ineos, because you saw the problem last season and you didn't act on it. You should be acting on it. Let's not be content. Let's not be happy with what we've got. No, go out and try and get the best. Go and do the best. But I don't know, it just seems like he's satisfied. We should never be satisfied with this. This is terrible, in my opinion. We should be getting a striker first things first. But look, anyway, before I ramble on too much. But yeah, anyway, so look, it's looking like it's Watkins. Am I happy with it? Yes, it is an upgrade on Haaland. As we all know, that's pretty obvious. It is an upgrade. Loads of people are upgrades. But is it what I want? Not necessarily. He will do a job for us. He did do pretty decent last season. I think he got 16 goals in the Premier League last year and 8 assists. Yeah, 8 assists and I think 16 goals, which is very good. I mean, the season before that, he got about 23, 26 goals, something like that. 23 goals? It was about 23 goals, something so around that, which is amazing. So he can definitely do a job. Would it be my first priority? No, but we definitely need someone to come into the club. So I think, allow the whole content thing. Let's go and bring in a serious striker. But yeah, I mean, like that. So that's the striker situation. But also, there are some quotes I can mention from Amorim. And look, I'm going to read some of these sources that's come out. It says, United also say that early impressions of Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo have been positive. The pair have been described as good characters who are fitting in well and have injected new energy into the squad. That's what I love to hear. That is exactly what I love to hear, because I can imagine the energy and the vibe around not Old Trafford, Carrington, or just the United squad is a bit down. It's a bit negative. It's a bit kind of like, everyone's kind of on their backs or on their toes just because of how poor last season went. And you know what the media is like. The media loves to talk negatively about United. So I can imagine that the energy around the team wouldn't be the best. So it's good to hear that these new players are coming in and they're kind of injecting that new life into the squad. So I like that. But yeah, that's those quotes. I'm going to move on from there because time is running very, very quickly. I want to talk quickly about Malacia. Now, I mentioned before that Malacia is kind of just, it feels like he's not even a United player. If I'm being honest, the last 2 years, it almost feels like Malacia is like a ghost. It's like he's a myth. It's like he's a Greek myth. It's like when you mention Malacia, it's like, oh yeah, I remember him. He's like a player from 2005 that he signed for 2 weeks and no one ever spoke about him because he just got sent out on loan. That's what it feels like with Malacia now. I don't even remember his last game. I don't remember the last time I looked at Malacia and thought, oh, that's a decent player there. Like he kind of just been like. He's just been around. He's just around. Like you see his face around. It's like, oh, we still have that guy at our club. That's interesting. But the news around Malacia is that let me just find it here. So several European clubs have inquired about Malacia's status, but the first concrete offer was made for him, and it's come from Saudi. Now, look, first of all, before I even carry on. If I'm Malacia, he tried it at PSV, didn't necessarily work out. I mean, I didn't watch any of their games, but the fact that they didn't sign him kind of shows it didn't necessarily work out the best that it could have. It's obviously not going to work for him at United. He doesn't have the name and the status of like a Rashford or a Sancho or a Garnacho or even an Anthony to kind of warrant a little bit of a big move. At least with those players, they can say, you know what, I'm Marcus Rashford. I can go Barcelona. I'm Garnacho. I've done A, B, and C. I can potentially get a move to Chelsea. Or I'm Anthony. Look at what I just did at Real Betis. I can potentially get another good move. Or I'm Sancho. I've done this. I can get this move. Whether or not they deserve it or not, the reality is these players can get bigger moves or get decent moves. With Malacia, I don't see where he goes. And if Saudi are saying, look, we'll take him off you for 10 million and we'll pay him 100k a week or whatever they are, 75k a week, 120k, whatever it is, Malacia, you might have to go. And I know you're still young, but you might have to go there, I'll be honest. But so Saudi have made an offer. It says here that it's unclear which club wants to sign the Dutch defender, but the deal will be worth about 7 million euros. The Man United man has received their offer and is in talks with them about a move. If he approves the move, they will send $1 million bid for him. Look, I think it's good for him. I think it's time for him to, first of all, play football, because he hasn't really played in the last, let's say 2 years. It's good for him to actually just go and get on a pitch and play every single week. But also just enjoy football. Go and get that money. I'm going to say big money move. It's not big money, is it? But in terms of wages, we know what Saudi are like in terms of wages. They pay people pretty well, and there's no tax. So, you know what I mean? So you can go and get some money over there, play a bit of football, and look, like I said, he's still pretty young, so we can come back in the next 2-3 years to whether it's a Premier League or whether it's another big league, top 5 league in Europe, and you know, get to play at a higher level. So, look, I think Malacia, if I was you, go out in Saudi, go enjoy the sun, go and get that move, go and play some football, and yeah, I think it'll be better for his career. But anyway, that's enough about Malacia. Let me just, this has just gone off. Yeah, cool. So, I mean, there's another super chat in here. I'm going to go through, I'm just trying to find all the super chats. There you go. So, yeah, super chat here from Zain Mayasi. He says, Gyökeres, oh my gosh. This guy is always in my shows. Zain Mayasi. Anyone who sees this name again, let me not send over any abuse. I'm not going to do that. But he says, Gyökeres, I'm going to read it just because I don't really care anyway. Gyökeres, hat-trick opening day. Come on, you Gunners. I hope Gyökeres gets injured first game of the season. I'll be so honest. Not a bad injury, just like a little shoulder injury or like a little finger break. You know, something not too crazy, like breaks his toe. You know, no career-ending injuries, but just something to just set him on the side, put him on the side. You know, take him off after 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoever's playing, Martinez, Dallo, you know, Casemiro, you know, one of those players, just put a foot in. You know, just lightly on his ankle. Don't break anything, but just put him aside, because you know what? I think, look, it's good for Arsenal, but I'm not too happy with that, the way how that whole saga went anyway. But yeah, anyway, I don't care about that. Gyökeres, he's not scoring against us anyway. I promise you that. Clip this all you want. I promise you, Gyökeres will not score against United on that first game of the season. In fact, I can put money on it. Either Mbeumo or Cunha will both of them will score or assist, or at least one of them will score or assist against Arsenal. And I'm going to clip this because when my predictions come true. Guys know that when I said that Pep will not win another trophy at Man City, he hasn't done anything since then. And I'm telling you this now, in the first game of the season against Arsenal at Old Trafford, either Mbeumo or Cunha will get a goal or assist, or both of them. In fact, I'm predicting both of them will get either a goal or assist in that first game of the season, and Gyökeres won't do nothing. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to go quickly over some Mount quotes. Mount has said, referring to Cunha and Mbeumo, what they've done in the Premier League already, the amount of goals they've scored, the amount of assists they've created, that's exactly what we need in this team. We're working together to try to improve that, because last season we didn't hit those goals or assists as much as we could have done. Well, bro, if you played for most of the season, maybe we would have done a bit better. You know what I mean? Like, you came back right at the end and you did pretty well. You did pretty well, I'll give it to you. Those last few games that you played, other than the final, but the last couple of games that you played, you were all right. But I mean, if you played the whole season, maybe we would have had some more options and we could have got some more goals and assists. But it's okay. It's okay. He said last season wasn't good enough. We know that, but we're ready to put that wrong right. We obviously want to be back in Europe. I think that is massive thing for the club. Europe, that is a focus. I agree. I think Europe is a focus. Somebody asked me the other day, would you rather an FA Cup or compete in Europe, or finish top 4 or top 5 and get European football? 100% European football, 100%. Because the FA Cup, respectfully in it to those other clubs that don't win those trophies every year, but I see my team win trophies a lot, you know. And maybe it's just me being a spoiled United fan. I'm a spoiled, shameless United fan. My team win trophies. But right now, my priority is to get back into Europe. We need European football. We need Champions League football. And I'd rather it be Champions League than Europa League, because we tried with the Europa League, got to the final, and I can't fathom. My heart is only just being repaired from that Europa League final game. I've only just recovered. I don't want to see that again. I don't want to do that again. Please, no. Champions League football, for me, should be United's goal. Whether that's finishing, hopefully it's top 5 again. We don't actually know. But hopefully it's top 5 again and we can do that. But that's my main priority for United next season. We need to finish high up in the table. And also, considering how strong the top 5 is looking, if we actually finish top 5, that will kind of show to us that, yo, we are a good team. If we can fit in around those clubs that the City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, even at Aston Villa, whoever else is going to be creeping up at that point, if we can fit in around those teams, and even Spurs, if Spurs actually improve and they start to compete for Europe, if we're in that conversation, to me that's kind of Amorim saying, look, I told you, when I get my players in and when I get some time with the squad, we can play good football, because you have to win a lot of games next season to get into that top 5. And I think if we're able to do that, there's some bright signs and a very, very bright future ahead for United. So that's my goal for United next season. But anyway, that is the end of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for paying attention to this 2 p.m. show. Like I said, there will be a presser at 4:45. That's British 4:45 time. It is obviously in America, so I think it's about 10:45 for them. So make sure you're tuning in and you're locking in for that. Mark will be doing it. There's a couple of super chats here I'm going to end on. Gyökeres is the new Nunez. This year, the hate watch is going to be generational. I hope all Liverpool signings flop. I agree. 100%. I love that super chat. My favourite super chat of the day. The hate watch is going to be generational. I agree. There's a couple more. I'm going to read them before I end the show, if I can get them here. From Silent Hill, Zion can't even spell his Starman signing. Pratt, yep. Zion, you heard it there first. Another super chat from AOWS. Why do I believe we'll win Arsenal 3-0 so easily? It's because we're United. And we some reason we just do these kind of things. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to my show, and I'm going to see you on the next one.